Welcome to episode 2, part 2 of the A Lot More To It podcast. If you didn't listen to the first part, you might want to go back as you might not get some of the things we joke about. And we want you to laugh along with us. Serge, in this episode, tells the story of Skycomp Solutions. Please enjoy A Lot
Well,
More
welcome
To It.
back to the podcast, everyone. This is Skycomp. There's more to it. Go on, Sebastian.
Kara, I
Perfect.
think it's a lot more to it.
Oh, a
We'll
lot
fix
more
that.
to it. Welcome back.
We'll
We will
fix that
get our
later.
name down eventually.
Good try.
It's the second episode, guy. It's the second one. That's fine.
Maybe that is our name. Maybe we'll just change it. No one will notice.
Wait, what did I call it?
I don't know. We're just
I think you
said
just
a
missed
lot
a
more
word.
to it.
I think you just said more to it. There's more to it. Or I don't know.
It's fine.
There
We'll
is.
fix it. We'll fix it later.
All right. Anyways, welcome, Serge. Thanks for coming on our podcast. We really appreciate it.
Well, thanks for having me. I'm pretty excited to be the first guest of the podcast.
Yay.
Yes.
Yeah,
Well-
we couldn't do it any differently.
No, we figured we had to because you sign our checks.
That's fair. Yeah. Yeah. If you're gonna have an episode 3, I guess it makes sense to have me as the first guest.
Yeah. Well, so what we were talking about earlier today was coincidentally EOS. And we were kind of just discussing how we've been implementing EOS across the company and how we were kind of at a 2-day offsite today, helping build our annual goals for next year, but then also how we always meet on a weekly basis and kind of go over things. So yeah, we just been kind of discussing that. And you were actually the one that came up with the idea of EOS randomly. Do you want to tell us how you decided that the whole company should start doing EOS?
Well, I'm sure as most of my ideas comes, I was away at a conference and heard about it and read a book, and then thought, oh, this book is awesome. Let's go back and have everybody else read the book and start implementing this. I mean, I don't think I've ever done that before. This is the very first time, right? That I've
That
come back
you
with a great
read a
idea.
book
Yeah.
After reading a book.
After reading a
specifically.
book.
Profit First, EOS. I think we were talking about today. What was the other one?
They
Culture
ask
code.
you answer.
They ask you answer. Culture code you've been bringing up a lot.
Yeah.
So actually, that's a good point because in EOS, this is one thing we didn't talk about was at the very top kind of our accountability chart is the visionary. And usually the visionary of a company is the person who started the company, like the owner or the CEO. It's like the big picture stuff. So we always laugh at Serge because when we first started building out EOS, he was like, yeah, I don't know. There's also another position that's integrator, which is just the more like specific person that's like the detail oriented, the one that's taking the notes and stuff like that. And Serge was like, I think I'm the integrator. And I was like, are you crazy? Like, you're the most visionary person I've ever met. It's just like, reads a book, this is an idea, we're going to implement it tomorrow. How do we do it? But this
Dude,
one
that's
was
funny.
a really good idea.
In the early days, I never saw myself as the visionary. I never saw myself that way. I don't know if I ever saw myself as the integrator. Pretty early on, I was pretty sure, Morgan, that you would be our integrator, but I still didn't see myself as the visionary. Like that seemed just too grandiose and too big, and like it didn't seem to be me. I'm still not totally convinced, but I'm more convinced than I was at the start.
Has Serge ever come out to sorry, I know we're interviewing you, but has Serge ever come out to you and said, okay, so I have an idea?
Yeah, I feel like I've heard it a couple times.
And the rest of your
Just
day
like-
proceeds to get off track with this grandiose idea. Although we are getting better at not off tracking ourselves like that, but you're definitely our idea person. But it's really important for our company because you keep us growing in a way, like you have definitely a different way of thinking and are always moving us forward. So it's interesting to have you as our leader.
Yeah. Hopefully that's a good thing.
I think it is a good thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think EOS I think has helped a lot. So sure, I see shiny things and want to do little projects and things on the side. And I think before EOS, it added an awful lot more turmoil to our business because I guess looking back, I still had those same ideas, but then our priorities would jump from one thing to another thing as I would kind of see a new shiny thing and want to do something and put some energy into it, and then we wouldn't necessarily finish it all, and it caused, I would imagine, Morgan, you and the other teams, the other people on the team that were there during that time, an awful lot of stress because our priorities kept jumping. So I think EOS has given us a lot of, it's held me back in areas of like, okay, let's look at that next quarter. We'll put it on the list and I can accept that. There's a spot it's at, I can look at it later and we can actually work through maybe one whole idea before jumping on to the next one.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I think like it's good that we are able to talk about, okay, what rocks do we want to do for next quarter? And then take the time to be, it's always, okay, we have like 7 great ideas for sales, say, and now April's got a million things to do on our list. But if you are doing a million things, you're basically doing nothing. So it's good to tone it down and say, okay, these are the 3 really important things, or the one, even sometimes it's just one, like this is your one goal that you need to push forward. And it's okay if the other things don't get, as long as you're focusing on the one and growing the company in some way. So,
and I think a really neat thing that came out of it over the last couple of days, and I think it was John that brought it up to really make us reflect on it. So Morgan, you do a great job as the integrator keeping track of all of that, but we were able to reflect on, we're 2 or 3 years in the EOS now, and we could go back and look at what did we see the company 2 years ago in 3 years, in 5 years, in 10 years, and what did our plan look like? And we had mapped out projections of company size, what employees we'd have, revenue size, how many clients, and we're now a little over 2 years into that plan, and it was surprisingly on track. It's almost uncanny. We're like a little bit ahead of that target and going, wow, we actually did what we planned and said we'd do 2 years ago, we achieved. That's a big testament to the whole team, but yeah, I thought that was really neat to reflect on that.
Yeah,
it is
Morgan
super
was
cool.
telling us that. That's really cool.
Especially when you look at it like looking 10 years out and saying, okay, this is how big the company's going to be. We're going to have this many employees. It's like, it's so hard to see. There's just no way we could jump from here to there. But then when you see it happen every year, time after time, like we have our targets on the goal with our back office. And every time we hit it, we're like, yes, wow, we did it. Like we focused on it all month. And then it's a really like exciting feeling to have. So I think it's a good structure. Like I do think EOS helps build that structure out.
Yeah, it helps a lot. Well, remember near the end of February, we're looking at our March targets and going, oh, how are we going to achieve that? That is really huge to get to that level. But kind of, we were talking about it. It's on a whiteboard. Everybody's kind of thinking about it every day. And I mean, you had the great news, on Wednesday, that we hit it already this month. So
yeah. And
that's pretty
yeah,
exciting.
that is super exciting. That I think every single person at Skycomp gets credit for that. Like it's a very exciting goal. We should focus on it more. It's super cool. It just gives you so much satisfaction too, rather than being in the grind all day long working and you're not seeing, but like to actually have something and you're like, wow, we did it again. It gives you a good feeling for sure. So Serge, I think we have a couple other questions. Let's go back a little bit to the beginning of Skycomp, because we're all very curious about the origination of Skycomp and how you started it all.
Yeah, so that story, I don't know, may or may not be as exciting as you might think. Melissa recently asked me that too. So it originally started not as Skycomp Solutions, but as Sky Computers. And there's no big thought process to why it was Sky Computers. I was in high school. I'm going to start selling some computers. To do that, you need to go into the land registry office to register a business license. I happened to go to it was in the courthouse downtown St. Catharines, like we can see it from our window. And one of the things you have
how old were you when you actually established Skycomp?
I was in high school. I was probably 16 or 17.
Okay.
Wow.
I was working at Tim Hortons.
I think I was at Arby's at that point.
Yep.
So now,
Just
to
killing
clarify, this wasn't full time. There was no employee. Like this is just, hey, I like computers and I can kind of build them. I think I could sell computers to somebody, and I like computers too. And if I can buy the stuff wholesale, that's cheaper than buying it retail. So if I fill out this business license, now I'm allowed to buy the stuff wholesale, and I'll sell some computers to the family. So it wasn't some big vision. There was no master plan for what we have today back then. It was just a kid wanting to make a bit of money selling computers and buying his computer stuff cheaper. I mean, that's
But a
just to
kid
put it
at
all in perspective.
16 who thinks like that is usually like, I'm going to get a job at Best Buy, not I'm going to go get my own business license. That's not a typical 16-year-old thought.
Right.
Yeah.
You obviously
That-
had an entrepreneur type of mind.
Yes, absolutely. Like you're a
Yeah.
visionary right from the get-go.
Well, so if I roll that back a bit further then, nothing to do with Skycomp, but when I was younger, I don't know, maybe 13, 12, I liked magic. I liked doing magic tricks. That was
I was really hoping to hear about the magic.
I
heard about it.
You had a
It makes
bet for
sense.
that.
I was
You
like,
actually had a
You see
bet.
my face light up? I was so
Yes.
Yeah.
I think you may have had a magic business back in the day.
She's like, how do
So-
we get Serge to bring it up? So,
Okay,
So-
we're good. Thanks, Serge.
Yeah, there we go. Well, so now I didn't ever do any magic shows or anything like that, but I'm a kid, I have no job, and I want to buy magic tricks to play with and learn because I think it's cool. So how do I go about doing this? I invent a magic company that doesn't actually exist and doesn't do any business, and I do up little share slips, and I sell shares to my magic company to all of my family to fund me buying magic tricks.
oh my
That
So-
is hilarious
that's
and
crazy.
super
Like,
smart.
that is
Yeah.
just so. That thought process went so much deeper than a typical thought process at that
Right.
age. Like
Yeah, I wasn't.
that's amazing.
I would just ask my mom to borrow $20 and
Seriously.
no
Same.
intention of giving it back.
Well,
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think I exhausted that, and magic tricks for birthday present. I've exhausted every revenue or every avenue and wanted to buy more. So
Wow, how many magic tricks would you say were up your sleeve?
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That
Wah, wah, wah.
terrible.
Wow.
And I think I still have them somewhere. I have a couple cases of hidden in some closet somewhere.
I feel like that could be a Skycomp event.
I was gonna
Yeah,
say
they're
that sounds like a free Skycomp event. We could definitely put that in the budget.
I might only be
It
able to do
is-
one or two tricks and pull it off because
It
the
is
sleight
our
of hand is not
30th
very good.
birthday this year, so maybe we can ask
Yes.
for our 30th birthday, three of us.
Ah,
3 of us.
Ooh, that's
Wow.
hilarious.
Yeah.
Lunch and learn coming up.
To DVI to DisplayPort.
That's hilarious. That's great.
So yeah, I figured early on, I always kind of had that thought of running a business. When I was a bit older, I'd write software, and my mom always thought it was weird. Like I wrote different programs for bulletin board systems, which is like the predecessor to the internet, where people would have a modem and dial up to other BBSs, and I ran a BBS that people would dial into mine and download files and shareware. Totally different world from the internet. And I'd write software for people that ran these BBSs, and again, the internet wasn't a thing. Interact e-transfers weren't a thing, and I'd be receiving checks from people all over the states for like $15 for a license of my software, and my mom thought that was a little weird as well. So that kind of predated everything, but I kind of knew that I wanted to run my own business pretty early on.
I feel like all entrepreneurs are the same. Like they just never really had a regular job and I think when you're an entrepreneur, you're born an entrepreneur or something. 'Cause
Yeah,
I can't even imagine. I would have no interest in starting my own job personally, starting my own business and going with it. I would
Yeah.
think like there's so much risk.
I have had a couple regular jobs. I haven't totally been unemployed my whole life, but
Well, being an entrepreneur is not being unemployed, but
Right.
it's different when you're working for somebody rather than working for yourself. And it
Yeah.
seems like you had a passion to work for yourself from very early on.
yeah, I was pretty sure eventually I was going to be working on my own. So anyways, back to where Skycomp came from, because I think that was the start of this
yes.
question.
all
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
sorry.
We're good at getting off track. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's what we
So-
do. Yeah.
So basically, I had to come up with something to write on the business license to go in and register the business, And as cheesy as this sounds, like I picked the name out of the sky. Like there was no bigger, it's Sky Computers. I have to pick a name out of the sky. Oh, I'll just use Sky. So you would hope that there would be something bigger and a cool acronym or anything, but sadly that's it. And it's even more boring of why we're Skycomp Solutions. So back then I was Sky Computers, and I got the domain skycomp.ca. And I had used that for a few years, and I'm like, well, we're not really a computer store anymore. We don't build machines. That had been shortened to kind of Skycomp for a while. And in the end, I didn't want to change our domain name because I had used it for so long, and that was my email address. So, okay, we'll just be Skycomp Solutions, and it fits with the domain name, and I'll register the corporation for that name. And that's kind of the slightly boring but true history of why we're called Skycomp Solutions.
So
I
maybe
think it's
is that
perfect.
why you've always been against having clouds in our marketing of any sort?
No,
Like I feel like you're always like, listen, we're Skycomp, but we don't want sky. Forget the sky. You're like how they like the Apple.
yeah, there. You know what? There's probably a measure to that because it's all that was a little bit too cheesy for me, right? I remember back when we were a BlackBerry partner, there was a very big brand book with them, and they were like, and for people listening, if you've never heard of BlackBerry, they used to be a very popular wireless device.
They were great. I love them.
People
don't
have
know
to
if
get
they're-
out more. If,
Yeah.
if they don't know what BlackBerry is, they got to get out more
I
for
know.
sure.
We're that old.
Yeah.
But they had a very big brand book, and it was like, our brand can't be berries, fruit, like they had all these things that they're BlackBerry, but you cannot have any type of semblance. You can't do any marketing with berries or fruit or produce, like anything like that to be kitschy. And I felt kind of the same thing. It just, it just felt so hokey to just completely play on and put our logo in clouds and sky, and I don't know. And then the cloud came out, and that cloud branding happened, and I just didn't want to be playing
that's
on
true.
something so cheesy.
That's true. You did actually. You were so ahead of the times. You picked a name that applied
Yes.
to today's world.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's all
without
vision,
even
right?
knowing it.
Yeah.
It's a big vision thing. Lucky coincidence. So
But I have to scrap a whole bunch of designs that I've done with clouds for redesign of the logo.
Yeah.
So no.
Uh-oh. So I'm gonna come back
Just
to you on that.
yeah.
Guys, I do have to let you know that I asked Mike to get me a drink, and he brought me a sippy cup.
Oh,
I
Oh,
don't
that's
know
awesome.
what he
knows.
thinks. Like, okay.
Honestly, whenever Jeff and I like go outside or whatever, he gives me like a plastic cup, and I was like, "Oh, I want a wine glass," and it's always just like he looks at me like, "No,
No.
you can't have that." And I'm like, "Oh,
You're
I
drinking
know."
beside your computer. Here's a sippy cup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Smart.
But
Tell
with
Mike thank you
Skycomp, you'd
because
have
I want to make sure that
the-
laptop doesn't get damaged. So I appreciate Mike giving you a sippy cup.
I've got accidental damage protection. We covered that
Okay.
last time.
There you go. There you go.
We're good.
Oh my god, I
Yeah,
got
does Morgan
ripped
have
apart.
accidental damage?
No,
Morgan
let's not
does
talk about it.
not
Let's
have
not talk about it. We'll talk about it another day. We'll talk
accidental
about it. I'm gonna get killed. Let's go for it. Listen, I got ripped apart in today's meeting about my laptop. Like John,
Let's hear more about that.
oh, honestly,
What I love the best is Morgan thought that carrying her laptop by the side is what shattered the screen and broke the plastic on the other side of the laptop. Is it because I carry my laptop on the side? Like, no, Morgan, that's because you dropped your laptop to shatter the screen and break the case.
oh,
It had
Morgan, you
nothing to do with
smashed that on
carrying
the
it.
ground. Okay, cool. Good to know. Thanks.
I get a random message during the day. April, do I've got accidental damage protection on this laptop?
No, you don't. Apparently, I don't. Apparently, it's end of life. It's fine.
Oh,
It's
no.
the The laptop is fine, guys. It's totally workable.
As
It's
long as you
just
don't show anybody in
Serge
public.
was making fun of, yeah, Serge was more just making fun of the look of it. He's like, what the hell is this? Don't. It's fine. We're fine. Okay. A couple other questions. Let's think here. So I'm curious, when did Yolanda and you get married? Was this at the beginning of this venture of you starting your own business, or?
No, we were married for a while past then, but our first daughter Yana was born the same week I quit my job. That's an interesting tidbit.
Oh,
So
you quit your real job, like
yeah,
a real job.
Well, not
Eh,
real job.
yeah,
like
yeah. So at that time,
a standard 9 to 5.
I was doing Skycomp kind of on the side and working at the Business Education Council in their IT department. And we were moving Lancaster, Brooks and Welsh, one of our biggest clients. They were moving from one office to another. We hadn't kind of engaged with them to do all their IT, but but one of the partners knew me from another company that I'd worked with and asked me to bid on that move, and we were moving it. It's an interesting story that while we were doing that move, I was still working, and I hired two of my friends that are completely non-technical, and they were the ones there moving the computers. And at like lunch hour, when I would leave my real job, I'd pop down and make it look, oh, yeah, what's going on? That's good. Oh, perfect. I have to run over here. Well, no, I actually had to go back to work while we were doing the move. And then that move happened. Yolanda was in the hospital that next week having Yana. And they said, oh, do you want to take over all the maintenance? And I said, sure, and quit my job and took over full time
Wow.
doing
Let's go
Lancaster
for
as
it.
our first
Wow.
IT client. Yeah.
With a new baby. Whoa, that's
Yes.
very risky. But is Yolanda a risk taker as well? Like she was totally cool with it?
I don't know if I go. It worked out all right, but I
Yeah,
don't
she's
know
cool with it
totally
now.
cool with it. Yeah.
She stuck by ya. Oh, that's great. That's really funny.
No, I
Would have
think
been a
we
little bit
wanted to
stressful.
I think we wanted to touch base on Skycomp's culture too, and how we kind of continue to upkeep that, especially even through COVID too, just to keep everyone connected throughout the company and kind of how we want to keep the culture how it is now.
All right. Touch base in what way? I'm trying to think
How
of.
do you feel that the pandemic has changed our culture?
Well, at least you're giving me nice, easy softball questions for me to
Yeah.
try to
We
ponder and.
specifically tried to catch you off guard because we were like, Serge is going to come so prepared. And you did, because you literally answered our 3 questions before we got to ask them about like what Skycomp was and how it
Yeah,
got
you like
created.
ate through our questions. We're like, oh
Yeah.
crap. Okay, let's.
Nope.
Now we got to go to the second list. Here's
Tell
the
us
hard
about
Yeah.
part.
culture, Serge.
So I honestly find it difficult myself to take a lot of credit for the culture. Morgan, I think you're the one that really spawned our culture and sparked us on the good path of growing our culture and getting it to where it is. So I guess I'm part of it and helping keep it going, but I honestly think Morgan can talk more about that and was kind of the catalyst to bring a lot of the fun and changes and things that we do internally. Like you drove that initially before you went on mat leave for a year or two, and then
No, I
April
think it
picked up that
was,
torch after.
yeah, for sure. I think it was definitely a combination of a few people. Like we definitely recognized it as something that we wanted to focus on, I think. Like not saying we had terrible culture, but it was just something that was like we didn't focus on, and it was just kind of like come to work. We're focusing on like the details of actually running a business, which is obviously a huge thing working at a small company. But then you kind of have forget about, are people happy at work? Are people enjoying their job every single day? Like how can we make sure they come to work every single day and have fun? So it was definitely not one person. It was all of us being like, what do we enjoy? How could we convince people that this is fun and that we have like that it's fun to come to work? I mean, work in general. Like how do you tell people come to work 9 to 5, and I also want you to enjoy it. And I think us starting with our lunch and learns was a huge thing. Like we all sat down in a room, and like April, you were definitely a huge part of that. We did we start with Star Wars?
Yes,
Maybe
we
it started
did.
with
Yeah.
even a few of the
Well,
tech guys where they were making fun of us because we didn't know Star Wars.
that's how our lunch and learn our kind of lunch and learn started, because every week there used to be real lunch and learns, like actual technical. The staff used to go in and learn something at lunch, and
Right.
then the technicians were making fun of us because we had never watched Star Wars, and we didn't get any of their comments. So then we decided that we were
Yeah, we
going to
weren't
hold.
picking up on stuff.
Yeah, so we decided that we were going to learn. There was their opportunity to teach us, and we started a marathon at
You know what? The
lunchtime
girls
watching
need to
Star
lunch and
Wars.
learn too.
And I remember because we kept losing track of who people were, because both of us kept forgetting names, so we wrote a family tree on the whiteboard.
Of all the
And
Star Wars characters, yeah,
but we
yeah.
had all their nicknames of things we were calling them, because like in brackets, because we didn't know their real names. And it was actually one of our other clients we had onboarded during this, and during our lunch and learn. So obviously that was very important data. We had to keep it on the wall. So they had come into the boardroom and they saw, and they knew what it was about, and just died. Like and that's when
Yeah,
they discovered
Princess
our
Leia,
culture.
Luke Skywalker. And then who's the other chick in the later movies? We just called her by her real name in real life, like the actress.
Well, are you talking
Natalie
Ray?
Portman. Natalie Portman.
Natalie
Oh,
Portman.
okay.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Natalie
Padma.
Portman. This guy. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and then Natalie in that
Yeah.
one.
Padme.
Ray.
Padme.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Padme.
It's been a while. Okay, it's been a while
Come
What
on.
did
since
I
we
get
watched.
what did I
No,
get
I-
in trouble for today? We were trying to explain like the nerdy and like how Skycomp's so
Oh.
into the nerdy. And I think
Yeah.
I said something, and
This podcast is brought to you by Skycomp Solutions Inc. Looking for IT support? Have 10 or more employees? Stop worrying about technology in your business. Skycomp Solutions, your technology support partner. You can check out the video version of this podcast by heading on over to youtube.com/Skycomp Solutions Inc. Thanks for listening.
literally John and Serge were like, they walked out of the room. They were so pissed off at me. I don't
Okay.
remember what I said. It was
So,
pretty
I don't
big.
remember the context, but you were trying to make a Star Wars reference, and like, Charizard and Star Wars, I just didn't understand. And right, yes. So
They were so pissed off.
for the fans listening to this, Charizard is not a Star Wars character. That is
Is
a
it
Pokemon. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know this stuff.
Oh.
Charizard.
Yeah.
I was speaking quickly and I was getting caught up in my words is what happened. But I don't know. It pissed John and Serge right off.
I think that got Suzanne, our facilitator, too. She was not impressed.
And Suzanne,
Yeah.
she's a big Star Wars person. She's like, oh my God. Like I lost a lot of respect today. I mean, from people.
I need to watch Star Wars, apparently.
We're gonna
Yeah.
have to
Yes,
lunch
you
and
do.
learn.
Yeah.
I was
Well,
gonna
then it
say we might have to do another lunch and learn, because I
For
don't think I've
sure.
ever watched any of them.
Uh,
We've never been a part of them, and they're big on our like the second one we did. I think was Jurassic Park or Harry
Jurassic
Potter.
Park.
Jurassic Park.
Jurassic Park, and then April built a huge PowerPoint game after the fact. So it was like we
We had to
realized that
test
lunch
our
and learn-
knowledge.
Yeah, they weren't educational up until
We had to make
up
sure
until
that
we
people
became-
Right.
understood. Yeah.
And
We
if you go
realized-
around the office, there's a couple of the staff that have little dinosaur characters, like play character,
Yes.
plastic characters. That's what it's from. If you scored a point
Oh,
in the lunch
I
and learn,
forgot about that.
you got a dinosaur character.
oh.
And in
And
order to answer, you had to rar. And it had
Yes.
to
Oh,
be
yes,
believable.
yes.
Yes, she
See,
made a bunch of
yeah.
grown adults roar in
That's
the room, and you
awesome.
know what? We got
That is
right
awesome.
super into it.
Yeah.
Especially like Tim, like rar rar. Wants to answer the question, doesn't want to be into the game, but he is.
What about the Star Wars like certificates? I saw one
Oh,
on Tim's desk. Where are those from?
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't have a game for
Another
that one.
April
It was
classic.
yeah, I just made certificates for everyone. Gave everyone a Padawan award that they were, yeah, and I signed it by Yoda. Tim fought me on that one a little
Which
bit.
means they had graduated from a Jedi. Is that
No,
Yeah.
no, they're allowed to become a Jedi.
Oh, sorry.
Yes.
Right.
Got it.
I
Yes.
was
You have
very
to be
excited to
qualified in
receive
order
my
to be
award.
trained.
They
So,
weren't Charizard awards, right?
Right. No.
we didn't do any Charizard awards.
Okay.
We
That would be for
apparently
like
need
a
to do
like a Pokemon movie.
we might need to do a Pokemon
Yeah.
Lunch and Learn.
Right.
Apparently, that's what I'm hearing.
Yeah,
from today's
apparently we do
events.
need a Pokemon Lunch and Learn.
I definitely need a Pokemon Lunch and Learn.
I think I'll
Actually,
bring in my daughter Ella to teach that one.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I
Yeah, is
walked into the house today and Everly was sitting with Jake and she's 3 years old and they were watching the first very episode from Pokemon, like the actual
Old school Ash.
Oh,
old school.
wow.
Yeah.
That's the
Nice.
best.
Misty
That's the
and
best. You cannot
yeah,
go
she
wrong
was
with
sitting
that.
there loving it and she's like, "That's Misty. That's my favorite girl." And I'm like, "Okay, perfect." It's
Starting to
just
write.
crazy. She's 3 years old, so
Do you like
so I
Pokemon,
went to
Kara?
Pokemon.
Like, you know who Misty is?
I used to watch it, yeah. Like I would run home
Oh,
after
okay.
school and eat 2 bags of popcorn before my mom got home and would watch it. And you had to like guess the Pokemon shadow before
Yes.
like yeah, good times.
Great times.
I was into Recess, like that show called Recess.
Oh, that was a
Yes.
fantastic show.
I love that show.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, that was a good
I've
show.
never heard of that show.
Oh,
Oh, Serge, it's after your time. I'm kidding.
Wow.
I'm getting fired after tonight. No, I'll never forget when you called me out on being old, and I was like, "Whoa!" Like you said, I can't remember how you worded it, Serge, but you were like, you're on the older half of the office at the moment, and I was like,
Yeah.
no, because I was talking about like how young I was, and Serge was like, just for the record, you are definitely like
You've crossed that.
you've crossed the boundaries onto the older half. I was like,
Yeah,
oh no.
I use that as an opportunity because I think a few times you'd be talking about like, oh, that person's really, I can't believe that. I'm like, I'm older than them. I don't. So
I'm the worst at compliments. We've discovered that.
Maybe there's something that we can create in the office where it's like if you're under the threshold, you're like a Padawan, and then if you're over that, you're a Jedi Master or something like that.
Yes.
Maybe there's something
good idea.
to
To
describe.
make you feel better about passing. So
Yeah.
April's a new Jedi Master, is what we're saying.
Pardon?
After her
Oh,
birthday.
yeah.
And us three are also becoming Jedi Masters very shortly.
Jamie, we have no idea what they're talking about.
no, I gotta watch it. I really gotta
Yeah.
watch it.
We know what, it was surprisingly good. Like Morgan and I were really hesitant to watch them, and we got like that's why we had to create the family tree, is because we were really into it, and then we would start debating with each other on who was who. So we're like, we got to write this down because we got really into it, and
Yeah.
it was right before one of
Typical
the movies
back
was
office.
coming out.
Let's chart this down. Let's jot it down while we're watching
Yeah,
the movie.
we
and have
had to create a
discussions
graph.
about it.
And we
Yeah,
were doing it. We
let's
were
build
trying to
an
get them all
accountability
done.
chart.
I remember we were trying to get them all
There was a
done
movie
before the
coming.
next movie coming out in the theaters. And then it was a big debate of, do we play them in cinematic order or timeline order, and trying to figure out,
That was a huge office debate because they were released. Yeah, that's a very good point.
And we didn't understand why it was so heated at the time. We're like, just pick one, guys. Like, let's get started.
And like April, I think it was 4 episodes in, we were like, we should have watched it in cinematic order. I think we watched it timeline, so we were like,
yeah, we were
right,
asking
and it actually would've-
questions.
Yeah,
Yeah. And then I go, oh, that would have been answered if we did it this way. Like, why are we even doing it this way then?
yeah, this is totally wrong, guys. Let's restart.
Yeah. But
Well,
then
lunch
when they
and
were all
learns are so
done,
fun, guys.
Morgan and I went to the theater to watch one of the movies because it had been released. It was just like, it was fun.
Oh yeah, yeah, that was fun. We went to Cat's Caboose first,
Yeah, we did.
and then we went to the movies,
Yes.
and then
Yeah.
another
The
one
invite,
came out.
guys.
This predated Kara, unfortunately, because I know we'd all be going together now. We should almost redo the whole lunch and learn, and then watch the new one that's already. You guys have probably already watched it. It's the new one that was released like maybe a year ago.
A year ago. Yeah. I watched.
Yeah, because I think when that was coming out in the theater, you're like, oh, we should all go as a Skycomp team. And we're all like, yeah, no, we already have tickets to go see it the first
Yeah.
night. Like, well,
We didn't
Well,
know you had to
we
we
pre-buy
can do this
tickets.
and we'll go again. But
Yeah. Yeah, the office is definitely full of a bunch of nerds that have already ordered the pre-tickets to the movie.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta catch
And then
up
there's
on the
a
first
strong rule of no talking. You have a week to watch it. There's a strong rule that there is no talking about it for 1 week. Gives everybody the opportunity to watch it, and then we can talk about it. And it's like,
Yeah.
it's firm.
Oh,
That is the
a
rule.
1 week no spoiler rule. Very good
Yeah.
point. That's important for a company to
very important.
maintain.
Yeah.
friendships.
Yeah, that can ruin friendships for sure.
You remember right at the end?
Yeah.
Ugh.
Those were the fun days where we could all be in the office together.
Yeah.
Hopefully
I
again
think-
soon.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it'll be soon. I'm optimistic.
Just gotta count on our good old friend Justin Trudeau to get some vaccines
Get some
out,
vaccines
right?
going. what I think what age group is going right now? Like 60,
75 and over.
75 plus?
Mm.
All right.
We
Well,
still
long way
got
to
a
go.
while, guys. We're all yeah. We're
So
all
we'll
Just
talk
call it
again
the
in a
Padawan
year.
if we're looking in terms of COVID vaccines.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you guys have any other questions for Serge?
Do we want to roll into our game?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think we had.
and yeah, I think we
Roll
asked
into a game.
Oh,
Oh,
yes,
yes.
yes.
a surprise.
I think he thought the questions were over.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, so
it's
the point
it's
of
a
this
short
game-
couple of questions.
yeah. We've decided for our next segment we're going to be playing a game with every guest, and this one
Ah.
is you are our test. So we thought a good one is that you sit in a lot of our interviews, and we were talking about interviews last week and kind of the crazy questions we ask. So we wanted to see how you might fare out if you were to apply to Skycomp today, and if the back office team would accept your interview and resume and
little
would
bit of
we hire
pressure.
you.
A little bit of pressure.
It's called
Oh.
Are You Hireable? No, it's not.
Oh.
It's not. I know.
It's called spilling the IT.
Yes, it's called spilling the
Yes.
Get some stuff out of you. All right, we
think-
all.
I think maybe I started a business because I'm not very good in interviews, but we'll see how this goes.
Well, we'll see.
So we all have a question to ask. We've got them pre-lined up and we've kept them pretty secret because we didn't want you to have the opportunity to prepare. So, all right.
Perfect.
I think Carrie, you got the first one.
So, Serge, teach us something outside of IT in the next 5 minutes.
Something outside of IT.
Yes. Anything. See, I remember at this point in my interview, I was like, are you sure? Like anything?
Yeah.
Absolutely anything.
So, I'm trying to remember, it's about 200 feet. So, one of the things I do I don't get out much anymore, but was a fairly avid scuba diver. And something interesting to know would be air that we're breathing right now becomes toxic to humans at around 180 feet. Everybody's a little bit different because every 33 feet adds another atmosphere. So right now we're breathing 21% oxygen. If you go down 33 feet under the water because of the pressure, you're now breathing 42% oxygen. And if you keep going down every 33 feet, that keeps adding up. And oxygen becomes toxic to the human system at a partial pressure of about, if I remember my numbers right, about 1.5. So we're starting at
Well, so that's how far you can go down in the water before whatever you're breathing in, even if it's in your tank, it becomes toxic.
Well, that's
Or is
when
it in your
oxygen.
tank regulated?
So your scuba tank delivers you air at the ambient pressure. So if you're down 33 feet, every breath of air, have you ever been in a pool and you put a balloon and you take the balloon down and the balloon gets smaller?
Mm-hmm.
So
No.
a scuba, so,
You
so-
have April?
Yeah,
Okay,
Yeah.
I haven't.
this is the thing. It gets pressure all on it.
So-
It gets like squished.
Oh.
I know what Morgan's going to do this summer in her
Yeah,
pool.
Yeah, darn right I am. Maybe after this meeting.
Or I can do it if I get an
Yeah.
invite.
You're invited.
Yeah. So what your scuba tank does is gives you your air that you're breathing at ambient pressure. So if you're down 33 feet, every breath of air has twice the molecules. So we're breathing right now 21% oxygen. If we go down 33 feet, it's twice the oxygen molecules. So at some point, your body oxygen becomes toxic. Now there's all sorts of fancy things that you can do, like split your breathing gas with helium or different gases. So I've done all this crazy stuff. The deepest dive I've done is 321 feet, which is an awful lot of atmospheres. And an interesting fact about that is the tank mixture that I was breathing at that level doesn't actually support life at the surface.
Oh, geez.
I couldn't start breathing it until after 30 feet under the water because there wasn't enough oxygen in it. But once you're down deep enough, you're breathing in compressed air with more molecules, and it supports life. So maybe that's more than one thing that I taught in a couple minutes, but hopefully
That's
that
crazy.
qualifies.
So basically, too much oxygen is a bad thing.
Yes, yeah, you
That's
can
crazy.
go into seizures, and it generally won't kill you at the surface. The downside of having any type of seizure reaction when you're underwater, you kind of spit out your regulator and then you drown. So
Right.
that's why oxygen toxicity will become fatal while diving, because you'll spit out your regulator and breathe in water, and that doesn't work.
Thank you for that
Where's
super
the coolest?
morbid.
Where's the
tidbit.
coolest place you've done a dive? Like
The coolest
location.
thing that stands out to me was in, I think it's North Carolina, but on a sunken German U-boat for World War II. And I actually took off my gear and got inside the U-boat and was able to swim down the length of the U-boat inside it. So I've done a ton of different dives, but crawling inside a German U-boat that was sunk in wartime is
That sounds like a horror
that's
movie
like
to me. Like that,
Titanic.
if I think
That's
about that, I get
crazy.
like claustrophobia thinking about
Anxiety.
that. Yeah.
So if I want to add to your claustrophobia, the other fun thing that I used to do all the time was cave dive. So I'd go down to Florida, and the furthest I've gone back in a cave is a little over 2 kilometers. So the closest
There's
space
no way
to, like,
out.
there's the one way out. The way you went in,
No,
you can
no.
get out there.
Anything could happen. Like one small shift in the tectonic plates and you're screwed.
In the tectonic.
Yeah, I'm not okay with
One
that.
small shift.
No.
Yeah, and there's
No,
spots
you're
that we
probably
have
right,
to take off our gear and push it through and then
Oh.
keep going back.
Oh my god. Oh my gosh. I'm
No.
thinking
I
now like the soccer team that was stuck in a
Oh,
cave.
yeah.
I'm getting
You know?
claustrophobia. No.
Okay.
No.
Okay, so
I should
next
find-
question.
Okay.
what other do you have any other like wild sports that you do? Like adventure sports, I guess? Or is that it? Are we
No, I think scuba diving is what I
That's crazy.
really got into, and yeah.
That's awesome. Now we know if we have to do like an underwater film for Skycomp, if we have to do a commercial underwater, we know who to call.
Perfect.
And I have a
was
lot of friends that
looking
have
for something.
really high-end underwater camera equipment too.
Perfect.
Because the
all
housing
high-end.
for a camera is at times more expensive than the camera.
Yeah. That's
Rat
awesome.
video. Rat video underwater, guys.
Underwater.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Skycomp
Already
in
writing
the
it down.
sea.
Yeah.
All
Oh my
right,
gosh,
Sebastian,
that's
you've got the
insane.
next one.
Yeah. So if you were a Microsoft 365 app, which one would you be and why?
Oh, I love this question. This is my favorite question on our. So not an Office app, a 365 app, or
Well,
do you
an
mean
Office-
Office
I-
app?
Sure. Let's go
An
office
office app.
because
And
you're
yeah.
a big picture kind
No.
of guy.
Well, because if it like really opened it up, I'd use one of like the scripting tools or PowerShell or something like that. But if we're gonna stay with the regular Office app, I'm gonna go with the tried, tested, and true Excel. Like most everybody that works in the back office chose in their interview as well. But I love the scripting, analytics, specifics of Excel as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Serge was like, I don't really get the question. Like I was like, Serge, Excel. The answer is Excel. I want someone to know how to use Excel and be interested in using Excel. If they say,
If they
I
wanna-
definitely did
If
not
they say
Excel.
PowerPoint,
no, I don't think we've actually ever hired. I'm just like, damn it, I wanted you to say Excel, but no one ever says Excel. It's a
Really?
good program. No, I don't. What did you
It's a
choose,
good
Jamie?
No, a lot of people say
I
It's a
would say
great
Excel.
program.
I didn't.
Yeah,
I
we
said
do.
PowerPoint.
I
I said
don't remember.
PowerPoint.
I don't
Because it's
remember.
Oh,
fun
goodness.
and creative. And
But how much do you use PowerPoint? Now, if you had to re-answer
well,
the
now
question.
never, but I love PowerPoint.
So
What
that's
would
one
we
of those
say now,
questions.
Jamie? I'm just kidding.
Now it would
What's
be
your answer
Excel.
now? Good job.
Sure.
Good job.
Yeah, I think that's on the list. Especially now, we definitely have to remove that from because we just told everybody in the podcast that the answer is Excel for the back office. So I don't
I know,
feel we can
Serge.
use that question
Serge has been
anymore.
pushing this
I
out. I
gotta
was
take that
personally offended for a
question out.
little bit, but I hear you. It's out. Question's out.
All right.
That's good.
Number
Sorry,
3. I think this
who's
is.
next?
I think this one might be Jamie.
Okay. So, Serge, tell us about a time when you were curious and found something you wish you hadn't.
Well, sadly, what we've had a few technicians answer this the same way too. There's been an awful lot of times over the years doing support for a lot of clients that you see material on their machines that's not illegal, but is definitely risque. And at times you're seeing that from professionals that you would not ever expect to see that from. So
All right. All right.
Oh.
That's really funny
Uh.
and a great part of working in IT personally. I love hearing a good funny story. Anyways, we won't go into details.
Yeah.
All right. Morgan.
That is,
you're up.
I do love hearing that answer from everyone all the time because some people are so awkward and they're like, I don't, okay, so one time
yeah.
I saw this thing and they're just so honest. I'm like, oh my God, what happened? Like, tell us about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Can
it's
you
fair
expand?
if you leave out the people and names and everything, then it's very anonymized. We
Yeah.
work with thousands of people, so
Mhm.
it's very anonymous. But that and you have to keep it. I mean, that's the world we
For
live in,
sure.
so we have to keep it anonymous.
Well, and then you sometimes have people that interview and they're telling you names and you're like, all right.
Stop
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, that's
Probably
been a
not
red
a good
flag
thing
for
to
us
be
too.
doing on. It's not the best thing to be doing an interview if you're naming off like
Yeah.
full names of people. Never
Yeah.
mind. It's okay. You don't have to tell us. But we do love to pry because that's us. Okay, who's next?
All right, Morgan, you're up.
Oh, I'm up. Okay.
Yeah.
So, Serge, at this point in time, what book do you think the entire team should be reading? We know you're an avid reader.
Well, right now that's fairly easy because I'm listening to Culture Code this second, so that's a pretty easy answer.
It's so good though.
It
So
is really
good.
good.
Yeah.
Another one that's high on the list for me that I think everybody should read or listen to is The Power of Habit. I know Yolanda was getting very annoyed with me for 3 weeks after listening to The Power of Habit of me talking about it and
Yeah.
talking about the things that you do to change your habits. And Morgan, I think you were kind of the same after you read it as
Jeff
well.
was definitely the same. It is like you just want to talk to someone about it. You're like, but listen, if you do this every day, if you
Right.
if you wake up in the
Just change
morning,
this
you
one
put your
little thing
shoes
and-
by it, right?
Yeah.
One little change every day becomes a habit, and it's a good book though. It does get more technical at the end, but the beginning is like very like, wow. I thought how they describe the person with Alzheimer's that is suffering from Alzheimer's, but it's just the power of habit that you can wake up in the morning and do the same thing every day because it's so habitual. Or when you're driving home from work, I think they said also like the most accidents happen within, 10 minutes of your house because
Because you
it's
zone out.
it's so habitual. You don't even pay attention to what you're doing. Like, I just thought that part was mind blowing. It's like, wow,
I loved when they
there's so many
described
things to
backing out
do.
of the driveway and
Yeah.
about how much you actually think about. And right, like when you first start backing out of your driveway and driving down the street, what actually went on in your head to be able to accomplish that safely. And like, I mean, I feel like I just get in my car and hammer on my gas and I'm backing up, but that's actually not what's happening in my head apparently.
Right. It was a really good way of like,
Yeah.
it's a good read for anyone. I agree. Like, just breaking out how does your mind work so fast that you can do exactly, April, moving out of your backing up into a street safely and never crashing. Like
Mhm.
I've had a few crashes, but
Well,
mostly not crashing.
and on the practical side of things, thinking of like the people that, oh, when they're bored they eat, or when this happens they go and do this habit, and changing that like cue, action, reward. And you can't rewrite your whole system, but you can change the reward or change that cue to do something different. And a big part of the book was talking about sports players and coaches going, well, these players were amazing and got here. We don't want to rewrite that player with that natural talent. But if we change the cue when they launch into that piece to be like when you hear this snap, or then they can still run their amazing ability as an athlete. But we want you to do that when this different thing happens. Obviously the book does it better, and I'm not an author, so if you actually listen to the book, it will make a lot more sense. But it really kind of lit up a light in my head of how that works.
It's true. I always think of everything now. I'm like, okay, I know I'm not, you have to think like, I know I'm not going to like to do this for the next 3 days, but if I'm thinking about working out, but I know I'm not going to like it, but you have to, and then once you start getting into a pattern, it's like, you want to do it. It's so crazy.
I did the
Yeah, I
same
would
thing
agree
with
with that.
running. I just kept doing it every day after work, and I was like, I don't care like how tired I am that day, like how much I did
Yeah.
that day. I'm just gonna have my clothes sitting there ready. I get changed into them. I go for my run, and I've done it probably every day after work.
See, and you know what the interesting
Yeah, that's
thing that you
awesome.
said there is having your clothes ready. So that's the cue,
Yeah.
right? It's not just the habit,
Yeah.
but the night before you went to the office, you set out your clothes. So when you got home, it's not like, oh, I should go for a run. Oh, I got to go find where my shoes are. I got to go find where my pants. I'll go look at them in a second. I'm just going to watch this thing on TV for a second, and then you don't go for a run. But when
Yeah,
you
that's a
set
big
up
part
that
of it.
piece, you get home, there's the cue. My stuff's right there. Put it on, go for a run. And they talk about a lot of that in The Power of Habit, of setting up that cue.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you have to think about too many things to do before you're actually going to do it,
You're not gonna do it.
No, your mind will change its mind, because that's what
Yeah.
minds do.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
there's too many obstacles in the way.
Yeah, it sounds
All
like a
right.
good read.
So, what fictional character do you identify with most and why?
Fictional character that I identify with. Not my favorite fictional character.
No, that you identify with.
Oh, we could go both.
Yeah, that's kind of a
Wow.
tough question, I think.
Yeah.
Did we throw you
Yeah,
off?
that is a hard
maybe?
one.
I think so. I'm trying to think of a fictional character that I identify
We made
with.
this question up, and we're thinking of adding it into the interview questions for anyone looking for a job right now.
Yeah.
Start thinking.
Start thinking about it.
Yeah.
Start thinking. It might be us. We don't know. You might be our first.
Now you're gonna know someone's gonna come in with like it written on a page,
Like,
like, "Oh,
okay.
yes, I'm ready for this."
I prepped for a Skycomp interview.
Would have been nice, guys.
Yeah.
Would have been nice if this podcast was a year ago.
Yeah. I honestly can't think of a fictional character that I identify with, because most movies are so unrealistic. I find my heart, like, even if I watch movies about like IT and hacking and stuff, like, it's all, yeah, that totally doesn't happen. And I'd say, well, Iron Man, because I love Iron Man, and boy, I'd love to be crazy rich and have all those toys, but I can't actually identify with them because I am not crazy rich like Tony Stark. And okay, I'm an entrepreneur like him, but I don't have an awesome robotic suit that can fly and do all sorts of neat things. So
that's who you want to identify with.
yeah, if I had to,
That's the goal.
That's your
Right.
dream man.
yeah, if
Got
I
it.
had to choose somebody of like that would fit, I think he's a little bit too egotistical for me, but everything else, I think I could tone down the ego a little bit and have a lot of fun with it. Tons of toys. I'd be Iron Man for sure.
There you go.
Iron
Sounds
Man is
good.
pretty badass. Yeah,
Yeah.
love Tony.
Yeah, I
Stark.
mean, I'm not a superhero, so yeah, I have technology
good
to make
Tony
me a
Stark.
superhero. Like, it's
Yeah.
Well,
Now, those
Hey,
were
you
the
get to
fun-
choose. So, what's your favorite fictional character, not who you identify with. Who is your favorite, most like interesting one to watch, or who would you?
So there
well,
hasn't been any
you know
movies
you
or
are.
anything for it, but I would say my favorite as a kid growing up would be Superman. Like
Mm.
Superman was it for me for a very long time. Now there's no more Superman movies, so it's hard to still be kind of on that train. But
It's still a fictional character.
Well, they
so-
Right,
have
he's
the
fiction-
new
Exactly.
they
It
have the
doesn't have to
new,
be in a movie.
Justice League, right? That's come out on HBO.
Yes.
I don't know if you've the
I haven't
4-hour.
watched that one. The 4-hour one, I have not watched that one yet. So we were gonna watch it
Sebastian,
It's
you have?
the other
good.
night with the kids. Well, we were gonna watch it the other night with the kids, and we're like, "Oh, do you want to come to?" And Noah, our oldest son, he's like, that's 4 hours."
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay. I guess we're not gonna watch it on a school night. So that
Oh,
might be
yeah.
That was
something
very
we're gonna do this
responsible.
weekend.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah,
good
our
call.
13-year-old was the responsible one because Yolanda and I were like, "Hey, let's watch Justice League. Kids, come on down."
Aw, no, it doesn't want to watch it tonight. He's got school tomorrow.
Yeah.
How is your movie marathon? Because Serge, aren't you doing a Marvel movie marathon?
Yeah, we're going through all the Marvel movies in timeline order. What
Yeah.
movie are we on? I think we just finished Spider-Man, which is tricky. So if you go into Disney Plus, it has the marathon order, or the timeline order, but only the timeline order of movies produced by Disney. So you have to know, like, oh, when I get to the Hulk isn't on Disney Plus, so you have to go watch that somewhere else. Like, there's a few of the movies that weren't licensed under Disney, so they're not on Disney Plus. And Spider-Man was one of them. Spider-Man's not on Disney Plus, and we just watched that one.
We had
Good to
that issue when we did this marathon in the office, was locating all of them
Finding
because
all the
that was one of our issues.
We were
You know
just
what? That was
talking
a
about it
good team
today.
building experience altogether.
It was.
Like, honestly,
Everybody
that
was
was
involved in that.
It was like, hey, listen, I got a Disney Plus login. I got my Netflix. I'm
Yeah.
Crave over here, and
Yeah.
we all worked together, and we made that happen
We
without
did.
spending $1 more.
It was awesome.
Perfect. That's what I like to hear.
So we only came up with 5 official questions, which we have asked. But before you came on, we got into a pretty good conversation about a possible event that we might do in the future. And we had a question about where you stand on it.
Oh, yeah.
More like what
Yes.
side you
Oh my God,
stand
thank
on.
you.
This
Thank
is
you,
a great
April,
way
for
to
writing that down.
wrap
So-
up. Yeah,
Right.
this is good.
That is a good way.
If Skycomp were to enter a paintball contest and we were to do back office against service team, who are you siding with?
Oh, service team. Sorry.
Oh, see, guys,
Aw, come on.
Morgan and I said we're down for
Kara's
shooting
rock
you, so
sticks.
we're good
Kara's
for this.
rock sticks. Serge doesn't need to know what it means, but Kara's rock sticks for the record.
Wait,
What?
The Serge must be gunned down.
Yeah.
Oh.
Wow, that was a
Now I'm
hard
going to be
task.
screaming in the corner for everyone to just go away. I'll be like,
Sebastian's
oh,
going
I'm
to
gonna
struggle with this
Rambo
a
it.
little bit.
Either
So-
that or I'm going
What?
to Rambo.
Sebastian's going to struggle with this a bit, but Morgan and I have decided we're good. We're okay.
Yeah.
Right, Sebastian wasn't sure if he would be comfortable shooting.
I don't
his
know if I
squad.
want to shoot at you.
And April and I
don't
were
know if I
hard
could
yes.
do that.
Only if he wasn't gonna, or only if you weren't gonna side with us. And
Yeah, so we
Yeah.
needed your answer first.
it was a cool,
Okay, so that's
coolest turn
that's
ever.
fair. I thought you were asking who do you think would win, and I think the service department would win.
That's
Oh.
even worse.
Oh, we
Okay.
Okay, we retract everything we just said. Hold on. So, no, the question was, where are you choosing sides?
Yeah.
Because you're
Oh, that's
you're
funny.
a back office, but you're also very
very
technical. So
technical.
we didn't know where your allegiance
Okay,
lies.
So that's fair. I just assumed that I would be on the back office team, but I felt the service team would still win with.
Got it.
So look
so
it.
quick.
So
I'm
you'll
sorry.
still stand with us, but you think that we're going to be defeated.
Yeah, Tim's on the other team.
Yes,
I,
Tim's on
I
the
brought Tim up. I brought him up. I don't know why. I feel like he's just going to go crazy.
Yeah,
He's-
if you've
he's a little
ever had any
competitive.
he is very competitive, and Tim getting to shoot team members, like,
I know.
I mean,
I
he's
mean,
gonna
I
love
could be
that.
pretty sneaky, though.
I know,
think I
it's
could
game
sneak
over.
up on him and get him.
And then I feel like a lot of the guys are going to have a lot more tactics of playing Counter-Strike or first-person shooters, and so even if they don't play paintball,
I have got lots of experience.
I was gonna say,
Lots
I
we got
know
of
you
April.
do.
experience.
We got April.
I know you do, but I
Serge only
don't.
has
And
respect
We
for
have
April right
one
now.
on
we're
the
a
back
bunch
office
of
team that
tiny
has.
girls who can hide
Sebastian,
really well, and that's where it comes down to.
I-
Is
Sarah
we're
watches
not getting
so
loud and
fun.
rowdy. We gotta hide behind trees.
I know
Wait till
Jamie's a
someone
lost
comes
cause.
running.
Me too. I'm throwing myself down there. I'm gonna be a victim,
What?
but I will die with my team.
So
No.
what I do know, it doesn't like even if I know whichever team I would end up on, I would be a victim very quick because everybody, right? I'm only in the game the first like 3 or 4 minutes.
No, I think people are
And
gonna be
everybody's
afraid.
like, okay.
People are gonna be afraid to shoot you
Why? No,
because
that's
you
you're
sign their
getting.
paychecks. They're
I was
not
gonna
You
gonna
go out and
shoot
you
you.
go out and do a team event like that. That's giving license for everybody to do it,
License
which
to
is
kill.
fair,
License to kill.
right?
I agree. I think Serge is first one
Fair
out.
enough.
He
Oh,
might be.
for sure.
He might be.
It'll
Actually,
more be like,
no,
look
Serge,
at you got me. I'm out. Okay, ow, ah.
yeah, Serge will be on our team, and we're just gonna put you out. You will be the
Oh, yeah.
the sacrifice.
Great, great.
Morgan
then
That's
is
the
all about
strategy.
sacrificing people for this paintball tournament that hasn't even happened. That's the
Hey, as long
second
as it's not
person
me.
you brought up as a sacrifice.
No, Kara doesn't even think she wants to be in. I'm throwing anyone in.
No, I'm going Rambo. I'm just full on. I'm just gonna keep shooting and screaming, or I'm gonna be like, I'm really gonna
Okay.
like hide and then like.
Guys, for our lunch and learns, we're gonna be playing Apex for the next couple of weeks, okay?
Okay, and
'Kay.
this is are we doing this? Is this paintball tournament happening? Back office versus front office? I think it could be fun. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, if it
could
can
be cathartic, or if nothing else.
There's a couple paintball places in Niagara.
There are quite a few, actually. Yeah, we've got some options.
I think it's doable. And if we do decide to do it, we shouldn't be doing a lunch and learn, like a team lunch and learn, or like a half team lunch and learn. Because I'm
No,
not.
like
I don't
we're
wanna-
gonna train. We're not. We can't involve the service side.
We need to have a Rocky moment with the music and stuff of us getting
punching
better.
meat.
Costumes
really-
might be mandatory.
So if you're going to train for a paintball, rather than
Yeah, we'll
watching videos or playing a video game about it, like 3 weekends before, the back office
go
group should be going out
Yes.
and playing paintball and targeting
Okay,
stuff. And
but-
then like,
and
oh, what
shooting each other,
paintball? I
Serge?
just had this random idea to do paintball. We should do
Ah.
that.
Yes.
Okay, now the service team
We're gonna
can't
join
listen
a
to this
league.
podcast.
Oh yeah.
Or it has to be
gotta be
released
super
after it's
secret.
booked. I don't
Yeah.
just edit that little comment out. Like that's the
Yes,
magic of
yeah, we'll
editing,
edit that
right?
out.
Report stuff out so they don't
Alright,
think that they're
okay,
gonna win.
guys. So no planning. We're not going to do anything at all.
Right. Exactly.
Cool.
And
Wink,
Serge
wink.
did say he's on our team. I think that's what we heard, and we're going with.
Yes, willing to
Perfect.
be sacrificed, but on our team.
April's still pushing you out, and you know what? I'm with
Yeah.
April. April, that's great. Well, Serge, people are going to want to
Oh,
probably.
Jamie, I think you're on
Oh,
Right,
gee,
mute.
you're just talking.
Uh
Jamie.
Uh-oh.
and that looks so good too.
Classic.
oh.
This is a classic Jamie moment. Of,
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Okay.
We brought them in too. We
No, we
checked
still
them
can't
out.
hear you, Jamie.
You probably hit the button on the actual headset.
Ah.
Yeah,
No,
Maybe.
you're still
or
muted.
not.
Okay, now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey.
Oh,
Problem
Maybe-
solved.
Maybe
Like,
that's what it was this whole
God,
time. Was
real-
it just the button on the headset?
the
That's
real
probably
issue
nice.
was
It's the
that how long have you been on mute for, I wonder?
Probably like an hour. Like,
How long have you been-
I did
Oh,
notice her
man.
talking earlier, but like other
Well, not too
people
long.
weren't hearing
You asked the question, so that was only like
Right,
5 or
yeah,
10
yeah,
minutes
yeah,
ago.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
hopefully as
We're
soon
okay.
as I ask that question. Nobody notices Toby over here just dying in the corner.
Jamie, you're
Always got problems.
always.
It was
always
that
doing
second
something.
box of wine that got brought over.
Yeah, my wine over there, it's just really affecting me right now. It's staring at me. No, what I was gonna say with all the shooting, hand movement,
I saw the handguns.
was was
Yeah,
Serge as our
that's the whole reason we're
sacrifice. We push him out there, and while he's getting shot at, sorry, Serge, all of us have the opportunity to get out there and just freaking just
That's
And
true.
go
you know,
buck
They're not even
wild.
gonna be looking at us.
exactly.
Yeah.
This is good. This is good stuff. Like,
I don't know
it's
if I
gonna be
love
fun.
this strategy. There's something about this strategy that I feel.
Serge,
But
it's
Serge,
okay.
you
Some of the
already
places-
said you did already say you were
Yeah.
gonna get killed in the first couple minutes. So
Yes.
why not?
What?
Why not die for your country
Embrace
rather than
it.
die? Like, you know.
And we're not going to limit how
a
much you can
hero
like
going
how much
down.
clothes you can wear. So just wear like 5 hoodies. We're not
Yeah,
going to
just
like
walk
like a
out.
slow
you can do what
motion
you
of
need to
him just
do.
getting like
And we'll do it in
shot with, like,
July.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll pad you up like Pillsbury Boy,
just
and we'll
like
throw
slow
you out there.
motion.
I feel like I would
Shush,
definitely
shush.
have to get a camera with protective stuff on it and film this
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Very
capture
good.
the moments.
Like
But
even
Sebastian,
GoPros.
it's gotta be.
GoPros.
It's gotta
GoPro.
be. Yeah, I was gonna say because we also need you on our team. Because if we lose
Yeah.
you, then we're
You
down
can't be
another
making
person.
excuses to not be
Just
here.
the 4 of
GoPro.
us versus everyone else.
go.
There you
Ah,
go.
see, there we go.
Yes.
There we
That'd be
go.
good.
We did
Thank
also
God.
say that we might steal John and Melissa to be on our side.
Well, how do we make the count even, or do we just go in uneven and we just go in confident? Confident.
Yeah, we're
Confidence kills.
confident.
Confidence kills.
Just
Exactly.
I
We're gonna
don't
be
know if
fine.
that's
Literally,
just maybe a
I think
saying.
so.
I've never
Yeah,
heard
confidence-
that saying before.
you're right,
Confidence
Morgan.
kills,
Confidence
yes.
kills. It's just we haven't defined who it kills yet.
Like I did. Okay, so it's 5. It's 5 of us. No,
Yeah.
6 of us.
No, so, yeah.
6 of us.
See, you're looking at the 5 of us, and then you're.
Oh,
Guys,
I
we
just
have
did
You're
the
one
same
too.
thing because I couldn't
I thought
count
we said
6
we had
either.
22 staff earlier today. We have like 20 plus staff. There's no way.
Yeah, we
It's
got a
six-
lot.
We'd have to
That's a tough-
split things up a little differently.
Yeah.
Got to steal some
Yeah.
people.
That's all right.
Well, if we're gonna steal some people, then let's.
Steal
Let's
Tim.
steal Tim.
Then let's take Tim.
Yeah,
So I was preparing for this the entire climb, and I remember asking Tim as a joke, like, "You could have joined?" Like, I asked the whole team, nobody answered. Nobody wanted to join, but joined the climb. And Tim was like, "Oh, I'll take the elevator up and meet you up there and high five you." Like, that'll be mine. I figured
Aw.
might want to join just for the competition.
If there's a step challenge during that, he'll
fine.
100% be there.
Serge,
could-
thank you so much for joining us. We had a great time. If anyone
So
wants
great.
to add anything else, any quick questions?
Thank you for being such a great sport and answering our ridiculous questions.
No
Yeah.
problem. Thanks for having me. It was a lot of fun. Look forward to listening to the episode and listening to more.
And I'm
Awesome.
sure we'll have you on again too, probably really soon. So
might be a
Absolutely.
recurring guest.
That all depends on the ratings.
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, we'll
Awesome.
work on that.
Thanks for listening to the A Lot More To It podcast. For more episodes, you can find us anywhere you listen to podcasts. We come out with new episodes every month. For more information about Skycomp Solutions, if you're looking for a managed service provider or IT support, you can head on over to skycomp.ca/learn. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll see you next time.